Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. So lots to currently talk about on this current video, but I'm going to give you some additional information of what's going on in regards to Antoine Greizeman. Now reportedly Manchester United are backing for Antoine Greizeman. Reportedly Manchester United have made contact with Greizeman over the potential move to Old Trafford. Obviously it got announced last week that Greizeman had currently made an admission that he is going to be leaving Atletico Madrid at the end obviously this summer. Obviously his initial release clause is around 170 odd million pounds, but obviously this does reduce to around 104 million I think in July does Antoine Griezmann's release clause. So obviously as it got suggested out last week, that Griezmann did say he was going to leave Atletico Madrid, and it did say he was destined to join Barcelona, because obviously Barcelona were willing to trigger his 105 million release clause, something like that. But now recent reports do suggest out that reportedly Barcelona now are stalling on a move for Griezmann, and now reportedly could have second thoughts on getting the pursuit of Antoine Griezmann. So potentially I think quite a few teams have been in for Antoine Griezmann. Obviously he's going to cost you over £100 million is Griezmann. Obviously Barcelona have been amongst the favourites to currently get the pursuit of the player, but now reportedly Barcelona have currently stalled on a move. Now it is reportedly now Manchester United have stepped in and made initial contact over the potential move for Griezmann. So as you all do know, Griezmann is 28 years of age. Obviously reflecting back a couple of years ago, Manchester United were on the brink of getting the signing of Antoine Griezmann, but due to Atletico Madrid's current transfer ban they got, obviously the deal never materialised, so Griezmann didn't make the move to Manchester United. So Griezmann, as you all know, is 28 years of age. Obviously so far he has spent the entirety of his career in Spain. Obviously I think for Atletico Madrid he's scored 133 goals in 257 appearances in all competitions for Atletico Madrid, but as I said, he spent the entirety of his career so far in Spain. But potentially going back last summer as well, Griezmann was on the verge of joining Barcelona, but obviously he didn't join Barcelona because he signed a new long-term contract with Atletico Madrid, so he is under contract with them until 2023. But definitely Griezmann is going to be leaving, so I've Manchester United got a current chance of signing Antoine Griezmann. But potentially as I did currently say, if Barcelona were to still get this deal over the line for Antoine Griezmann, obviously this would be their third £100 million plus signing, of course, because obviously Barcelona in recent years obviously got Philippe Coutinho for 142 million, was it? Obviously they got Mousse and Dembele for around 105 or 106 million pounds. But is this just rumours floating around the media about Antoine Griezmann, like it is with De Ligt? So it's similar sort of a scenario with the De Ligt rumours and the Antoine Griezmann rumours, of course. But as they come to say, I do believe that Manchester United do need a striker, of course, because we haven't been ruthless enough in front of goal, we haven't been scoring enough goals, and and we're just not being creative enough in the attacking third of the pitch. And now obviously it's looking like Lukaku is going to be leaving the club, as I did give you my initial update earlier on. Reportedly now Inter Milan have agreed personal terms with Lukaku. Reportedly Inter Milan are reportedly willing to match his £175,000 a week wage demand, so Inter Milan have confirmed they are willing to pay that. Obviously an initial fee has not come to an agreement yet. Reportedly Manchester United, well, we've quoted that one around £78 million for Romelu Lukaku, but Inter Milan value Lukaku at around £50 million. So Lukaku has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, as we all know, Manchester United are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear out, and obviously Lukaku is one of the favourable players that's set to leave the club this summer. But yeah, Inter Milan have been heavily linked to him, and I think from Lukaku's perspective, he's destined to make the move to Italy. So potentially, as it did currently say, yeah, so they've agreed personal terms Inter Milan with Romelu Lukaku. But obviously we do know that Manchester United paid £75 million for him a couple of seasons ago. Obviously there were add-ons included of around £15 million, so that had initially risen it to £90 million. He has still got 3 years left on his contract term as Lukaku, but like I said, I think it will be very beneficial if we do cash in for Lukaku. We're looking to recoup the initial £75 million we did pay for him, so Ed Woodward's blatantly made it clear that we want around £78 million for Romelu Lukaku. But as I did say, we're cashing for the likes of, Lukaku, we're cashing for the likes of Pogba and all that. It will help us with our rebuilding process, and it will help us with our transition. But if Greizemann actually was to make a move to Manchester United, in a way that could actually, persuade Paul Pogba to stay at the club, because looking at off the pitch, Greizemann and Paul Pogba, have got a great relationship, because obviously, they're both French. So if Greizemann were to come in, which I don't see happening, but if he were to come in, it could actually, in a way, persuade Paul Pogba to stay at the club. But as I did currently say, we're getting £250 million to spend this summer. But we cash in for De Gea, we're cashing for Pogba, we're cashing for Lukaku. You know, it's going to take our spending spree this summer to around over 500 odd million pounds. So like I said, it will help us with our rebuilding process. But as I did currently say, you know, Lukaku's agent had come out a while back and currently revealed that Lukaku's future is very, very open. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has obviously, you know, told Lukaku that he is surplus to requirements. But analysing it throughout the course of this season, Lukaku's enjoyed a very, very difficult time. Obviously, we know that Rashford has been first choice ahead of him, but I think Lukaku's too inconsistent. Obviously, in his first season, he did really, really well. He scored 27 goals in all competitions. His ratio is still very, very good in the Premier League. His pedigree is very, very good in the Premier League, Lukaku's, and he has still got a hell of a lot of development in him as Lukaku. But as I said, you know, he hasn't got that endless potential. I have concerns about his finishing. You know, his first touch concerns me, and he never really rises to the occasion. You know, when it rises to the occasion, you know, when it comes to playing the big teams, and his footballing ability as well, I've got concerns about. So it would be beneficial, of course, if we could cash in for Romelu Lukaku. So it is going to be looking likely he will be making the move to Inter Milan. Obviously, Inter Milan are set to appoint Conte as their current new boss, and he's identified, you know, Lukaku as his number one target. Obviously, they're getting Conte to replace Luis Spell at Inter Milan. But reports did come out yesterday, as you all know, saying that Inter Milan reportedly were willing to offer £30 million plus Ivan Perisic, you know, to currently land Romelu Lukaku. And now going back to the Jose Mourinho, where Manchester United were heavily linked with Ivan Perisic. Obviously, we didn't get a deal over the line because at the time, obviously, you know, Inter Milan were demanding a fee of around £48 million. Manchester United, of course, you know, were not willing to pay the £48 million Inter Milan were demanding. So we never got a deal over the line for Perisic. But I don't think Man United would be intending on bringing Perisic in now anywhere. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. You know, he wants to recommend a number of young players to come in, and I don't think he's he's not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club. He's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so I don't see us bringing Ivan Perisic in. So I think Manchester United have currently turned this down. But as I said, yeah, so it came out yesterday saying that Inter Milan were willing to offer £30 million plus Perisic as part of the deal for Romelu Lukaku. But obviously, Man United have blatantly made it clear we want around £78 million for him if we are currently willing to offload the player. But yeah, I do see Lukaku leaving. So now there's been more talks going on about Mousse Dembele. Now, do you think he'd be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku? So now reports have been coming out about this quite a few times about Mousse Dembele. So reportedly Manchester United I think Man United have put a bid in of around £40 million for Mousse Dembele, and he actually has been on Manchester United's agenda. He's only 22 years of age. Obviously, this has only been his first season in France with Lyon, of course, because obviously Lyon got him last summer from Celtic for around £20 million. He's under contract with Lyon until 2023, of course. Obviously, he began his senior career with Fulham, of course, when he was a lot younger, Mousse Dembele. I don't really know much about him, but it has said that Manchester United have expressed an interest in Mousse Dembele, but he can score goals, as they have currently seen, but I don't really know much about him. But it does say that Manchester United have obviously, you know, put a bid in of around £40 million for the player, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is keen on recommending, you know, Mousse Dembele, you know, to currently come in. So he's been another name that's been currently mentioned. But I think he had 2 good years in Scotland. I think he scored like 50 odd goals in 90 odd games, of course. And he did really, really well when he was at Fulham, you know, when he was a lot younger, Mousse Dembele. So there has also, you know, been talks about him going on. So who should replace Romelu Lukaku at Manchester United? But, you know, this question I'm going to ask you now, you know, obviously if we get Greizeman, obviously, you know, it's going to cost us over £100 odd million. And obviously we've got the financial power, you know, to currently meet that valuation. But for me, you know, Joe Felix, obviously, he's going to cost us around £100 million is Joe Felix, but I'd actually, you know, rather us spend £100 million on Joe Felix than I would Antoine Greizeman, of course. And I know Antoine Griezmann's a very, very good player. He's a really, really good player. He's Greizeman, you know, he's highly experienced. He's 28 years of age. But obviously, you know, Joe Felix is obviously, you know, what is he, about 9 or 10 years younger than Antoine Griezmann. Obviously, he's got a hell of a lot more development in him than Antoine Griezmann as Joe Felix. And it did initially say that Man United, you know, have been in more negotiations, you know, of getting a deal over the line for Felix. Obviously, you know, Man United have been scouting Felix, you know, for a number of months now, for ages, should I say, you know, reflecting on his impressive performances for Benfica. But it did say over the course of the weekend that Man United yet again instructed scouts, you know, to keep a close eye out on the player. But it did initially say that Man United are prepared to trigger his buyout clause, and his buyout clause is around £100 million. So it's a sort of similar fee, you know, because Griezmann's release clause is going to be about £104 million. I think, you know, Felix is about 100, or is it £105 million? So it's obviously it's the same sort of price of course, but I'd actually, rather spend it on Joe Felix. Obviously, quite a few teams have attracted their interest in Joe Felix, but I do believe that Joe Felix, can emulate into one of the, best players in the world. I wouldn't say he could emulate into like a Ronaldo or Messi or Neymar and all that. I wouldn't compare him to them, but I still believe he can become one of the best players, can Joe Felix. And I think, he's got all the attributes and, all the capabilities, to currently succeed in the Premier League. So it would be fantastic for him, to currently come to the Premier League. He's obviously, not yet made his senior debut for Portugal. And this has actually been only his first season in Benfica's senior squad as Joe Felix, but he's primarily an attacking midfielder. He can also play as a winger. He can also play as a second striker. He can also play as a striker. So he is very, very versatile. It's Joe Felix. So I'd rather spend £100 million on Joe Felix than I would Antoine Griezmann. Obviously, Antoine Griezmann's obviously a hell of a lot more experience than Joe Felix, but obviously I'd just rather spend around £100 million on Joe Felix. I still probably believe that Greizeman will probably end up making the move to Barcelona. It's just a lot of speculation in reports saying that he's now Barcelona stalling on the move for Greizeman, of course, and I think it's just rumours that are going on about it. But I think probably still Barcelona are the favourites to get Greizeman, even though Manchester United have reportedly now made initial contact. So we've inquired about Griezmann's services. So he's definitely leaving Atletico Madrid, but I don't know where he'll be currently going. So I do believe he'll continue playing his trade in Spain next season with Barcelona. And as he updated you earlier on, news is coming out now about Everton's Idrissa Gueye. I want to give you an update on. So he's been mentioned today. He has been mentioned, quite a few times as Idrissa Gueye. So now reportedly Manchester United have showed an interest in a Senegal international. Manchester United have showed an interest in the Senegal international. 29 years of age, is Idrissa Gueye. I think he's one of the. I think he has. He's completed. I think the most tackles in the Premier League. I think he's one of the players that's completed the most tackles in the Premier League. Is Idrissa Gueye, and his tackling is very, very good. I think he's completed the most tackles across Europe as well. Is Idrissa Gueye, but I think he's one of the players that succeeded. A lot of tackles, of course, and really, really good. Idrissa Gueye. What I've currently seen of him. Reportedly, Everton are demanding that they want around £35 million for Idrissa Gueye. That is currently their asking price. So initially, Everton are demanding 5 times more than what they initially paid for him back in 2016, because I think Everton paid around £7 million for him from Aston Villa, Idrissa Gueye. But potentially, Man United would probably see him as a replacement for Ander Herrera. Obviously, comparing Idrissa Gueye and Ander Herrera. Obviously, comparing Idrissa Gueye and Ander Herrera, you can say Ander Herrera has had better career. Obviously, Idrissa Gueye and Ander Herrera, of course, are the same age. Ander Herrera is 29, Idrissa Gueye is 29. Obviously, Everton did everything, to keep Idrissa Gueye, away from PSG's clutches, back in January, because I think PSG had 2 bids, turned down for Idrissa Gueye in January, because initially, I think back in January, Everton were demanding that they wanted around £40 million for Idrissa Gueye. But yeah, very, very good player, primarily a defensive midfield, and that's one of the priority areas where Manchester United do currently need to strengthen up. But he's an energetic midfielder. He presses opponents very, very well. He breaks up the player very, very well. Idrissa Gueye. Obviously, I think he's made about 134 appearances in the Premier League. If I'm right, I think he's made about 134 appearances. Obviously, the majority of these appearances have come at Everton. I think he initially made about 35 appearances when he was at Aston Villa for one season. But I think the 99 of the appearances out of the 134 have obviously come at Everton. He's still got 3 years left on his contract terms, Idrissa Gueye, because obviously he got a contract. He got his contract extended in February of last year. Did Idrissa Gueye. But yeah, highly experienced. 29 years of age, and £35 million is a reasonable figure. Of course, and maybe a lot of people have said we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because we do know there's quite a lot of players on Manchester United's agenda that are available for a reasonable figure. So, do you think Idrissa Gueye would be the right solution in our midfield? He's one of the most players that completes the most tackles, of course. So yeah, pretty decent player. So do you think he'd blend in very, very well in our midfield? Obviously, it's disappointing that we've let Ander Herrera go on a free transfer, but obviously, we wasn't willing to pay his wages off, and that's why Ander Herrera, of course, has left on a free transfer. Now, potentially, talking about other midfielders that Manchester United have been linked with. Obviously, there has been a lot of talks about this Thomas Partey going on from, Atletico Madrid. Obviously, he's 25 years of age. Don't really know much about him. I think he's a central defensive midfielder. I think he's got an initial release clause of around £43 million in his contract with Yeah, in his initial contract with Atletico Madrid, £43 million. Brought to Manchester United have inquired about his services, as I said. Arsenal have inquired about his services, but don't really know much about him. I think he has spent the majority of his career with Atletico Madrid, but we are in search for a defensive midfielder, because obviously Fellaini left in January. Obviously, we've got Nemanja Matic, not reliable enough, not trustworthy enough, too slow, too ineffective in that midfield, and plus aging up. And I do want him to go in this summer, Matic, but obviously he's not going to leave. And in some of his games, he has demonstrated, that he can play well. And the Nemanja Matic, he's got a lot of years of experience under his belt in the Premier League, but I've got strong reservations about him. So I do believe that we do need a centre defensive midfielder. So there's quite a few CDMs on Manchester United's agenda. Obviously, Declan Rice is one as well, because he's primarily a defensive midfielder, is Declan Rice. Well Premier League proven, so he knows about the Premier League. He's still very, very young, only 20 years of age. Obviously, he initially learned his trade in the Premier League, did Declan Rice, but he has been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. As I said, 20 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of development in him, and he has been at West Ham a number of years now, been in their senior squad a couple of seasons as Declan Rice, and he's done really, really well. He's got a contract with West Ham until 2024, but Manchester United have been linked to him. Could take a bid of around £50 million, to get a deal over the line for Declan Rice. So potentially Manchester United have also been linked to him. I still think Tanguy Ndombele is a possibility for Manchester United. I don't see it happening. No, I think potentially we're waiting to clarify Paul Pogba's future before we do make any kind of approach or any offer, for Tanguy Ndombele. I think of what the reports I was reading the other week, he did say Tottenham were emerged as the front runners, to currently get a deal over the line for Tanguy Ndombele. He also said that Juventus have been interested in, also PSG have been interested in, and I think he's initially rated at around 87 or 88 million pounds. Is Tanguy Ndombele. I think he's supposed to be primarily a central midfielder. I think he can operate as a defensive mid as well, but I think he's primarily a central midfielder. Only 22 years of age, but very competitive, very tenacious, breaks up the play very, very well, very good on and off the ball, very quick as well. And and I do believe he'd be the right solution for Manchester United. But of what I've seen of it, Tottenham are the favourites, to currently get the pursuit of Tanguy Ndombele. Like I said, I think he's initially valued at around 87 or 88 million pounds. So there has also been a lot of talks about him going on. Obviously, I'd love Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United, of course, only had 24 years of age, and I do believe if Bruno Fernandes, came to the Premier League, he would exceed expectation levels, really, really well. Reports came out the other week about it, saying that Sporting Lisbon demanding around £60 million, and that is the quoted fee that they're currently demanding, Sporting Lisbon for him. But potentially, Man United have been in for him. Obviously, Manchester City have also, been in for Bruno Fernandes, because as you all know, he's primarily an attacking midfielder, and potentially, he can score goals. He can also provide, Bruno Fernandes, which is very, very good, and I think he'd be the right solution for Manchester United. I think his initial release clause is around 85 or is it 86 million pounds in his contract with Sporting Lisbon, but he's been fantastic in his couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon as Bruno Fernandes. Obviously had a lot of experience playing in Italy when he was young, with the likes of San Pandora and underneath. He did unless you say the other week that City were in negotiations with Sporting Lisbon over a potential deal worth around £47 million, and it did say City were willing to offer a couple of their players as part of the deal. So it did say initially City, were on the brink of getting a deal over the line for him, but then it said allegedly then that City adopted him out of the race for Bruno Fernandes. So I'd love Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United. Obviously we'd see him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. But if Greizeman, as I said, going back to what I said about Greizeman, if Greizeman was to actually come in, this could actually maybe persuade Paul Pogba to stay at Manchester United. So as you all do currently know, reports came out the other day saying that Solskjaer was willing to offer Paul Pogba the captaincy, in a bid to convince Paul Pogba to stay at the club. I don't think this is going to be enough, to convince, Paul Pogba to stay at the club. And then there was a change of scenery about it. Then there was a change of senior about it. Then it allegedly said the captaincy at Manchester United, the captaincy at Manchester United next season will be given to Ashley Young, and Manchester United now are reportedly only willing to offer Paul Pogba the vice captaincy. But we do know that Paul Pogba has been heavily linked with a move away from Old Trafford. Obviously, going back last year, there was a lot of transfer speculation last year, about Paul Pogba, leaving the club, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, he was linked to his former club Juventus. He was linked with with a move to Barcelona last year was Paul Pogba. But let's be honest, I don't think either of them deserve the captaincy, nor Young or Pogba, because what leadership's Young shown, what leadership has Paul Pogba shown. But since we got Paul Pogba in 2016, we paid £89 million for him. Obviously, he's in his third season now. He's been here over 3 years now at Manchester United, Paul Pogba, and he hasn't been a fundamental player. He hasn't exceeded them. He hasn't exceeded them expectation levels as we currently thought he would have done. Regarding what he did at Juventus, because obviously when he was younger, he had 4 great years with Juventus. Did Paul Pogba, but we do know Manchester United have got a history of spending big on players. Especially in recent years. And as I did say, always getting Galactico players, always spending big on players doesn't always get you in that commanding position, and doesn't always, of course, guarantee you success. And prime example, Paul Pogba, 89 million, Lukaku, 75 million pounds. But I think Paul Pogba, still destined to make a move to Real Madrid. Initially, Manchester United don't want to sell Paul Pogba, because we still know he's a very, very essential player, of course. We mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba, during Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first 3 months, when he was the interim manager. And that's when we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba. And we mainly saw the best of Pogba when Ander Herrera was playing. So that just emphasises how much of an impact Ander Herrera made in that midfield, because it did. He freed up Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba was scoring, he was providing, he was expressing himself. But at least his last 7 or 8 games has been so inconsistent for Manchester United, and that just basically emphasises, that Paul Pogba doesn't want to be Manchester United. As we all do know, it's Zinedine Zidane's main priority target. Well, Zinedine Zidane's got a lot of players on his agenda this summer, but obviously he's identified his 2 main targets, and that's obviously Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. So initially, I think Manchester United want around £138 million for him, of what I saw the other day. Initially, we wanted around £150 million for Paul Pogba, but obviously that's a figure that Real Madrid, of course, are not willing to pay off. Initially said the other week that talks between Paul Pogba and Real Madrid had completely stalled, based on the 13 million a year wage demands. Real Madrid were not willing to meet his 13 million a year wage demand. So, and then reports came out saying that Paul Pogba was willing to take a pay cut, to make his move to Real Madrid. Paul Pogba has still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United, don't forget, but at least in the last 3 or 4 weeks, Paul Pogba's agent Raiola has obviously been in the process to try and secure his move to Real Madrid. So as I did currently say, if we can get around 120 or 130 million pounds for him, it will help us with our transition. Potentially, we could get 2 players there with that money. Maybe Paul Pogba would consider staying at the club if Greizeman, was to currently come in, because Greizeman and Paul Pogba, of course, have got a fantastic relationship. But to be honest with you, I don't see Greizeman coming to Manchester United. I just think it's rumours, justifying their existence, of course, with their narratives that they do currently put out. I think it's just currently rumours. Similar sort of thing, with the De Ligt situation now. With the De Ligt situation now, have Manchester United, got a real chance of getting De Ligt? Will he come to Old Trafford? Will he go to Barcelona? But obviously, we do know that Barcelona have been the favourites, to currently get the pursuit of De Ligt from Ajax. But now, reportedly, as you all know, Manchester United had come up with an improved offer for De Ligt, to try and convince him to make the move to Old Trafford. So initially, going back a fortnight ago, it said that allegedly Manchester United offered him a contract worth around £12 million a year. Reportedly, De Ligt had currently turned down this contract offer. But now, potentially, Manchester United have come up with a new offer now, and I think it did say we're willing to offer him over £12 million per year. That actually equates to around what, £240,000 a week. Well, initially it's now saying negotiations between Barcelona and De Ligt have currently stalled, because potentially what we're willing to offer, De Ligt, Barcelona are not prepared to currently meet that, because obviously De Ligt's been demanding more money. Obviously his agent Raiola has been demanding more money, and don't get me wrong, he'd be a fantastic player for Manchester United, with De Ligt. Obviously he's a central defender, and obviously we do need a central defender. I do believe we need 2, and we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. But we do know the teams that have inquired about his services, of course. We do know Barcelona, obviously. Manchester United, of course. Liverpool have also inquired about his services. Obviously, Manchester City have also inquired about his services, because obviously now City are in the market to try and find a replacement for Vincent Kompany. But I do like this De Ligt a lot. He's only 19 years of age. He's got a hell of a lot of development in him. But I do believe he's become an integral part of Ajax's squad. And I do believe if he came to the Premier League, it'd definitely take his career to the next level. And I do believe exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. I think he'd also, succeed in the Premier League, of course, with De Ligt. So far, he has spent the entirety of his career with Ajax. Obviously, being in Ajax player since age of 8, age of 9-year-old, and he's flourished fantastically well. Being in their senior squad now, about 3 years, of course. Making his senior debut at just the age of 16. Obviously, the only defender as well to win the Golden Boy award. Obviously, Ajax won the domestic double this season for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Won the Eredivisie title for the first time since 2014, and obviously as well progressed to the Champions League semi-final. But I'd love De Ligt to come in, as you all currently know. But I think from his own preference, he still wants to make the move to Barcelona, does De Ligt, because he did make an admission saying he wants to make the move to Barcelona. He's willing to turn Manchester United and Liverpool down, and he's intending on going to Barcelona. And I think the main reason why he wants to go to Barcelona, because obviously Barcelona have got his current teammate Frankie de Jong. Obviously Barcelona agreed around a £75 million fee with Ajax, for Frankie de Jong. So obviously Barcelona have got Frankie de Jong on the board. So I still believe that De Ligt probably does want to go to Barcelona. But obviously, reflecting back quite a few weeks back, obviously, Edwin van der Sar came out and he did say we're convinced that De Ligt's going to obviously, depart Ajax, and he does believe he'll either go to England or Spain, and that's where, Edwin van der Sar thinks his next destination will be. So yeah, there's been a lot of transfer speculation going on with De Ligt and all that. So now could Manchester United, be a monster, the favourites, to currently get a deal over the line for him? Is initially valued at around £65 million, is De Ligt. So as I just updated you about the Greizeman, what's going on with Greizeman now, Manchester United reportedly made initial contact with him. I think, the Greizeman rumours are similar, to the rumours that's going on with De Ligt, of course. Similar sort of scenario, to be quite honest with you. I want to give you some news about Harry Maguire from Leicester as well. Reports have come out about Harry Maguire now, saying that reportedly Leicester are demanding that they want around £98 million for Harry Maguire. If Manchester United are to go in for him, if Manchester City are to go in for him, because obviously Man United are linked to him, obviously Manchester City are also linked to him, but Leicester want around £19 million. So Manchester United or Man City would have to break the world transfer record for Harry Maguire. But to be quite honest with you, Harry Maguire is not worth £90 million. As I did say, I do really like him, but he's not worth £90 million. Harry Maguire is not a Virgil van Dijk, he's not a Koulibaly, he's not a Raphael Varane, Harry Maguire, but he's definitely not worth £90 million. But I still think he's a very good central defender. Obviously, us and City have got the financial power to meet that £90 million valuation, of course. But I think Leicester recently, valued him at around 70 or 80 million pounds. Don't forget, Harry Maguire is still well Premier League proven. He's been in the Premier League, quite a few years now as Harry Maguire. And he's 26 years of age. He's in his prime. He's got a lot of development in him, of course, Harry Maguire. And maybe from his own perspective, he wants to take his career to the next level, of course. And and obviously he signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer. So he is on the contract with Leicester till 2023. But obviously, we had a lot of central defenders on our agenda, and we still have now. But obviously, last summer, Harry Maguire was on Manchester United's agenda, but obviously last summer we didn't get as number one targets, of course, due to that the board weren't backing the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come into the club, and obviously our priority, of course, was to recommend a centre back to come in. So there has been talks of Harry Maguire going on. Wait a minute. So yeah, as I was currently saying about Harry Maguire from Leicester, yes, so I think he'd be still a good signing for us if he was to currently come in, but we do need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof now back line. But City are seeing Harry Maguire, I think they've identified him as their number one target, to currently replace Vincent Kompany. Obviously, the more attractive option for Harry Maguire, obviously, would be Manchester City, of course, because obviously they're a competitive elite level football club, obviously, they're winning trophies and stuff like that, so obviously that would be the more attractive option for Harry Maguire than currently Manchester United. So our City willing to pay £90 million for him, and Manchester United, willing to pay £90 million for Harry Maguire. But yeah, we've been linked with Harry Maguire, since last summer, of course. But yeah, a lot of central defenders on our agenda. Obviously, we do know we'd love to get Koulibaly into Manchester United, of course. Recent reports from Italy came out saying Man United had a £95 million bid turned down for him. Obviously, the rumours do continue to persist, linking Koulibaly with a move to Old Trafford. Obviously, recently Carlo Ancelotti had currently come out and he basically, regarded Koulibaly as as one of the best centre backs in the world. And he's 27. He's nearly 28 years of age. He is highly experienced, and I do really like Koulibaly a lot. I think he holds his line very, very well. His distribution, is very, very good, and and he would be fantastic, and he'd succeed definitely. In the Premier League, as I said, we had 3 bids, turned down for him last year, and I think the £95 million bid was also, turned down for Koulibaly last year. He's got a contract with Napoli until 2023, of course. But I don't know if I think we'd have to, obviously we're gonna have to break the world transfer record to get a deal over the line for him. If we've got any chances of getting a deal over the line for him, it would probably have to come up with a bid of around 120 or 130 million pounds. Try and convince Napoli to sell him, of course. So I don't think initially 95 or 100 million pounds would be enough, to convince Napoli to get rid of him. Recent reports did say now have identified him as our number one target. Well, initially Jadon Sancho was our number one target, but obviously our move looks in serious jeopardy for Jadon Sancho this summer. So we're not going to get a deal over the line for Jadon Sancho. I think the main factor reason is because obviously we're not in a Champions League football for next season. But obviously he was the club's number one priority target for a very, very long time. So now initially said recently we've identified Koulibaly as our number one target, but we need a world-class central defender, because we haven't had one since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand, because they were a great centre-back partnership, under the Alex Ferguson era, of course. But yeah, we've got to get a central defender, and I think we conceded about 54 goals this season in the Premier League, so that just basically emphasises how poor we are defensively, of course. So yeah, there's a lot of central defenders on our current agenda. Obviously Raphael Varane isn't going to happen, because obviously Raphael Varane is fully committed to Real Madrid, as he has confirmed, because he's obviously been on Manchester United's agenda. And as I did currently say, Solskjaer, wants to bring anywhere at least 5 new additions to the club. Of course, obviously, wants to get a director of football in before the start of next season, because I do agree we need a structural change at the club, and that's obviously getting a director of football in to Manchester United. It would be ideal to recommend someone to come in who knows about the club. Someone, of course, has had the experience. And I said all the players we want to leave Manchester United. We're not going to be able to address this problem in one window. It's going to take a couple of windows to resolve that problem. And so players are expected, to currently leave Manchester United. Another problem with Manchester United, as I said, we've let far too many players' contracts run down, as you all know. Obviously, De Gea's in final year of his deal, Rashford's in the final year of his deal. With that, Ander Herrera go on a free transfer. Looking likely as well that Juan Mata is going to be leaving the club. Recent reports have come out saying that he has attracted interest from Newcastle as Juan Mata. Obviously Barcelona have been in talks, to get him on a free transfer, but I think Manchester United have failed to agree a contract extension for Juan Mata. So I do believe he's going to be on his way out. Is Juan Mata. Sanchez, should be going as well, which is very, very good news. I think Inter Milan and Juventus are interested in Sanchez. Obviously they're fighting it out for him. Man United are willing to let him go on a long season loan. We're willing to pay half his wages off. Obviously we can't get rid of Sanchez permanently, based on his substantial wages. Of course, he's on 400 grand a week, rising up to 500,000, based on image rights. Based on image rights, and based on the obviously on the bonuses, and it rises up to about £500,000 a week. But like I said, his wages are having a really bad effect on the club. No team can afford to pay his wages off. That's why we've got to loan him out. Obviously, he doesn't initially have a future at the club anyway, because he's 30 years of age. Obviously, he has lost that yard of pace as Alexis Sanchez. So yeah, he's been so inconsistent for Manchester United. He has become injury prone since he's been here, and he's only been here 16 months. Obviously, I think he's out at the moment with an initial ankle injury, Sanchez. But I thought he'd have done well for us. I thought he hasn't been the fundamental player, or he hasn't exceeded expectation levels as we thought he currently would have done, because he played under Pep Guardiola at Arsenal when he was younger, under Barcelona, when he was younger. He played under Pep Guardiola, obviously, did really well at Arsenal, but he's failed to replicate this Manchester United. Of course, we do know the other week, Sanchez's agent was in Italy, because obviously Juventus and Inter Milan had currently held negotiations with him, so it's looking likely, Sanchez will be going. So as he updated you earlier on in regards, to what's going on with David De Gea at Manchester United. So obviously it's looking like, De Gea is going to be leaving the club after the club have failed to agree a new contract, with for David De Gea. Obviously we do know at least now for about a year and a half, Manchester United have tried to convince David De Gea to sign a new contract at the club, but reportedly Manchester United are not willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. So we're not willing to meet these wage demands. So I think now David De Gea is going to be leaving the club. Obviously, PSG are heavily linked with David De Gea. Obviously, we do know that Real Madrid have also, been long admirers of David De Gea, but obviously we want to cash in for him this summer because it would be, it would be very, very disappointing, if we did let him go on a free transfer next year. Potentially, I think PSG are preparing to put a bid in of around £60 million for De Gea. But as I did say, we can get around £60 or £70 million for David De Gea. Obviously, we know he's worth more than that at full value for the goalkeeper. Like I said, he's worth, he's worth £100 million, is De Gea. But as I said, we're not going to be able to get that for him because he's only in the final year. He's in the final year of his contract term is De Gea. It did initially say PSG were intending on getting him on a free transfer next year. So in that aspect, maybe they could offer him a bigger salary, of course, because PSG do have their eyes on their demand, to UEFA's financial fair play. Obviously, PSG, spent big in the last couple of seasons, on the likes of Neymar and Mbappe, of course. But I think if De Gea leaves, which is looking very, very realistic, I think we need a replacement for him. But he's been fantastic for Manchester United. He's won everything here domestically. He's been here 8 years now, of course. So he has been a long-serving, he has been a long-serving goalkeeper as De Gea, of course. He has made over 300 appearances in all competitions. But there is quite a few, players in the Manchester United squad that have been long-serving players at the club. Obviously, Smalling and Jones have been long-serving players at the club, of course. Smalling's been here 9 years. Jones has been here 8 years. Obviously, we know Valencia's leaving, but Valencia's been here 10 years. He's been a long-serving player. Young's been here 8 years, of course. So there's quite a few long-serving players at Manchester United. But David De Gea has had 8 great years at Manchester United. He's never really put a foot out of line as De Gea. He made a couple of costly errors, towards the back end of the season, but I think that was mainly to do with the contractual situation, of course. So yeah, I do believe he's going. But I think now we're not. I don't think we're now intending on buying a goalkeeper, to currently replace David De Gea. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is willing to promote Sergio Romero as our current number one goalkeeper. For currently next season. Like I said, I don't know if Sergio Romero is reliable enough, to become our number one goalkeeper. Not as yet. Anyway, I know we've got the likes of Dean Henderson, but I think he hasn't really got the experience yet. He's been on loan with Sheffield United as Dean Henderson, but we do know there has been quite a few names who could possibly replace De Gea. Obviously, as you all know, reports are coming out today. There was also coming out yesterday in regards to AC Milan's Donnarumma. Now, reportedly, we've identified him as a potential replacement for David De Gea. Donnarumma, of course, is only 20 years of age. Obviously, made his senior debut at just the age of 16, and actually, became the youngest goalkeeper to make his debut in the Serie A, and he was just the age of 16, when he currently made his debut. Obviously, Donnarumma, as I said, he's 20 years of age. He's still got a lot of development in him. I think he's about 6'5", so he's very, very tall. I think he's in all competitions. I think he's played about 160 odd games. I think he's kept about 50 odd clean sheets as Donnarumma. But yeah, there has been talks about him going on. Reportedly, if AC Milan failed to secure Champions League football for next season, there has been talks saying that Donnarumma could be available. There has been talks about that. But I think he's under contract, with AC Milan, if I'm right, until 2024, is Donnarumma. So reportedly, if De Gea leaves, which is looking likely, we could make a move for Donnarumma. Obviously, we do know that there's been other goalkeepers mentioned. Obviously, the likes of, Andre Onana from Ajax got mentioned. Jordan Pickford's been mentioned in the past. You do know that Jan Blanc, got mentioned about, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So there has been quite a few goalkeepers' names mentioned who could potentially, replace David De Gea. But yeah, so I want David De Gea to stay, but I don't currently see it happening. As I did currently say, I think Smalling and Jones shouldn't be here next season, but they are going to be here next season. Eric Bailly, I'm not too sure about him. He burst into the scenes when he came in the Premier League, Eric Bailly, but I think to be quite honest, talking about Eric Bailly, I think, with his fallout under managers and his injuries he's sustained, I think he's enjoyed he's really had a bad effect on his current career, Eric Bailly's. Obviously, we'll be looking to recruit the initial £30 million we paid for him 3 years ago from Villarreal. But yeah, especially if a new centre-back comes in, his future, could be in Series doubt. Rojo and Darmian, I think, they're going in the sum, which is good. We could get around £30 million for them. That's very, very good news. And obviously, we know Manchester United need a right back. I think, Wan-Bissaka, would be the right solution. Obviously, reports came out a couple of days ago saying that Manchester United, submitted a £25 million bid for Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, this figure's not going to be enough, to convince, Crystal Palace to do any business with a player. He has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Tottenham have been in for him. City have also, been in for him. And, yeah, we definitely need a right back. And Wan-Bissaka would be the right solution. I think Crystal Palace want around 50 or 60 million pounds. This is the quoted fee. They want around 50 or 60 million pounds, for Wan-Bissaka. He's got 3 years left on his contract with Crystal Palace. Obviously, he's regarded as one of the best right backs in the Premier League. Only broke into the first team of Crystal Palace. Broke into the first team of Crystal Palace last year, was it February of 2018 last year, so he's been there senior squad about 14, 15 months now as Wan-Bissaka. Initially when he was a lot younger, he was a winner, but obviously now he's been rotated now to right back Wan-Bissaka. But Manchester, he's been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets, so yeah, there has been also a lot of talks about him going on. So yeah, a lot of players on Manchester United's agenda, of course. I think £250 million should be enough to get us around 5 players, as you all know. Obviously, the Daniel James move is now imminent, so it's looking like he's going to be our first sign for this summer. Obviously, could be delayed for a short period of time, based on his father dying, which obviously had to make Daniel James, withdraw from the Wales camp. But yeah, we're definitely, going to get Daniel James on the board. And yeah, so the main part of this video, was to currently give you an update on in regard, of what's going on with Anton Greizeman. That Man United have reportedly made contacts. Now, some reports suggesting out saying that Barcelona have stalled a move, for Anton Greizeman. Initially announced, was it last week? Greizeman had made an admission, that he is leaving Atletico Madrid, and he was destined to make the move to Barcelona. And Barcelona, were happy to pay his 105 million release clause. So now the report, according to reports, has been a change of scenery. Now this has occurred. Manchester United jumped in and made contact with Anton Greizeman over the potential move. I don't see us getting Greizeman on the board, to be quite honest with you. I think he'll end up. I still think he'll end up, going to Barcelona, in my opinion. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.